Cash flow budgeting is the area that we'll be focusing on today. And when you start looking at the three different tiers that we offer, the feature that we'll cover today will fall in Traction Pro. So if you've got Basic or Plus, you won't have this capability today. But for those that have Pro, you'll be able to do everything that Scott is showing you. So yeah, for today's webinar, Scott's going to be going through how to create budgets and not just one, but you can create a really unlimited number of budgets and use those throughout the year. The key piece of this is that if you do have like a previous year's actual records already put into Traction, and so if you want to use your 2025, for example, numbers and have that as a starting point for 2026, we can easily do that, and Scott will kind of walk you through that process. Yeah, so Scott, you just want to kind of take it from here and kind of kick things off.
Okay, so budgets where you go to get it. I think probably background on budgets. If you've done market value, a market value balance sheet, budget kind of functions really similar to the way the market value balance sheet does. You go to the reports area on the left, you go to accounting, and you go to budgeted cash flows. So if you haven't made any budgets yet, this screen will be blank. If you've made any budgets, this always defaults to, I think it defaults to the last budget that you were looking at. So you're going to build your budgets. I mean, if you're just getting started, you'd add one. If you're doing budgets each year, you'd have a separate budget for each year, and then you can have other combinations of budgets that I'll talk about. So to start a budget, you're just going to, on the down arrow here, pick plus new to build a budget. So first thing to say, budget's kind of an area that it sits completely off by itself. So it's going to pull things from the accounting side, but anything you do here will have no effect on your accounting. So if you want to get in and play around with the budget, it's no big deal. You can make a budget in here, play around with it. When you're all done, delete it or just save it as a play reference. So kind of talk about the budget, what I'm going to tell it. It's going to do a 12-month budget for me. So this is going to be, I'll pick out the first month I'm starting in. So if I'm doing it for 2026 in a calendar year, it'll be January 26th. If I want to do it on a crop year, I could start it maybe November or something like that if I wanted to. My case, most of the time, these are calendar basis. So I'm just going to leave it January 27 or 26, sorry. The entities, this is kind of like market value. I can pick and choose the entities that I want in it. So if my entities are all tied together and I want to do a combined budget, I could pick all my entities in here and do a combined budget. A lot of times you're doing these for bankers, so it depends what the banker wants. If the banker wants to have a separate one for each entity, you can go and build one for each entity. This description, the Traction is going to build a description based off the year you're budgeting and the names of the entities, but you can customize this any way you want. So like this was if it was one that I was making for play, I could just maybe put on the end the word play, something like that to know what it is. Or I'm going to go through and explain the budgets are really designed well that you can run different scenarios in here. So maybe this is going to be my baseline budget. And what I'll show you what to do is with the program situated really well that maybe I want to do a baseline budget. That's what I'm going to give to the banker is kind of what I expect. But then I kind of like to see what's a best case scenario, worst case scenario, so I can make different copies of this budget. So I'm just adding the word baseline there so I can kind of see this is my baseline. And then what I'm going to do this copy from, I'm going to say copy in the previous year's actual balance. So this is a huge time saver for you that if you've been using Traction the year before this budget, in my case, I've got some data in there from 2025. If I copy over previous year's actual balances, that's going to copy over all the revenue and expense balances into my budget. So I've got those as a starting point. So I've filled everything out there. I'm just going to get save. And now I've already got a report here. So this is giving me a report that's got for each month. This is my actual values. So this is showing me my actual revenue and expenses by month, and then kind of over to the right, my totals on it. So I can see all those, and then I can see my net cash from operations. That's my cash net income as of the end of each month. And to do your actual budget, I'm just going to hit the edit button. And I think before I proceed, I'm going to turn off that life ring. So to actually update that budget, I'm just going to hit the edit button. And this edit button is going to take me to a screen where I can start entering values in and updating values. So the way the budget works is kind of a great big spreadsheet. So we kind of hide things in here. So when I start out, it's grouped by category. The categories, my operating categories are revenue, expenses, asset sales, all these different values. And when I click on the little down arrow, that expands it. So the up arrow kind of hides things, down arrow expands it. I'm actually working from home this morning on a small laptop. So a smaller laptop, a lot of times I don't want so many screen or so many lines on the screen. If you want to open up everything, I can open up all these and have it all on there, but those are just kind of the ways to summarize things in there. So this budget, what I'm going to do is update the values that I want. So again, it's kind of filled in the totals from last year. So I start out with corn sales. Maybe for 26, I expect that I'm going to have 100,000 in January. And what you can do is that this actually works real well for keyboard. I can type and then tab. So if I want to put 50,000 in February, hit my tab key to the next one and just tab through here. So I can tab through. It's just standard spreadsheet. As I tab through and I get to the end, I hit tab again. It takes me to the next row. And what you can see is the totals adding up for me. So as I put in the individual months, it updates that total based on that. The other way you can do things is you can enter values in the total. So maybe like my hedging gains and losses. I don't know what the hedging gains and losses are going to be for each month, but the amount I expect to have from that is maybe 10,000 for the year. And when I put a value in the total, the program just splits that across all my months for me. So kind of the things that are just fairly even across all your months, you can put in the totals on it. I mean, other things on this, if for some reason maybe I don't have any hedging during harvest, I could go in and take those individual months and delete those individual months. It is going to update my total, but that's kind of the way I could do those.
Scott? Yeah, I
Yes.
had a question here for you, since you probably can't see the questions on your smaller screen today. Question, where do the subcategories come from? It's a question from Tom.
Subcategories as far as revenue, expenses, all these are just kind of standard for budgeted cash flows. So standard budgeted cash flows would have things: cash from operations, revenue, expense, investments, asset sales and purchases, financings, debt and reductions. So those are all just kind of defined in here. That answer the question? We'll go ahead.
Scott, really look the next level down. Yeah, capital expense, sure, all that. Where do those all come from?
These are all the individual accounts. So everything here will be the actual expense accounts you've got here. Now, if your chart of accounts, if you've set up, I think we call them subheaders in the chart of accounts, we don't do those here. These are just going to be expenses and they're listed alphabetically here.
Yeah, these are the accounts that you're posting to, not the subheading folders to organize the accounts.
We'll kind of go to that next. So that was actually one of the next things I was going to do. So let's say that I get here and like now I want to budget professional fees. And I look and it's like, oh crap, I never set up an account for professional fees. I need to add that account. So what I'm going to do is that I can't add accounts from here, but it's not really that big a deal. I can just save that budget. So I'm going to save everything that I've done. I can see that report's updated here. So I'm just going to go up to my chart of accounts and let's just add professional fees in there. So to add professional fees in the chart of accounts, I'm just going to do new, add an account. The heading this is under is these are going to go into expenses. The account type is professional fees. And I do want to put this on all three of my entities. I'm just going to save and close. And now if I go back to my budget, so this budget, anytime I go to it, anytime that I change accounts, add accounts, rename accounts, if I go in and edit that budget now, go to expenses, I'll see professional fees showing up there. So the same goes if I catch an account that's maybe got a typo in the name and this is a report I want to give to the banker, just save it, go to the chart of accounts, rename it, and then it'll start showing up with the fixed name on it. So like professional fees, I know that maybe we spend on an average $5,000 a year. And maybe I know come tax time, I spend a bit more. I can put the adjustments in there to get those in there. Same thing on expenses as it is for kind of my revenue side of it, that these small amounts, if I want to just delete those out, maybe we're going to prepay more in October. Just put those amounts in there. So budget and cash flows, what budget cash flows are really designed to do is we're trying to budget what our cash position is at the end of the month. So the goal of this budget is this bottom section. If my budget's right, this bottom section, the ending cash position, should be how much money I've got left at the end of each month. So the key to this is we need to budget everything that we're going to spend money on and everything that we've got money coming in on. So it's more than just my income and expenses. So we'll go through a situation. Let's say maybe I'm planning in March to buy a new tractor. And that new tractor will say I'm actually going to take a loan on it and I'm going to have to make payments on that loan. So to add that tractor in, I'm going to open up asset purchases. This is going to give me all my equipment accounts. This is not individual pieces of equipment. These are just kind of summaries. We don't want to make this budget too detailed. So I will pick the account that is going to go in. So if maybe that's going to go in this account that I call farm equipment traction, I will go into the month of March and we'll say I expect that tractor to cost about $250,000. Now, the key to it is, in this case, I'm not going to pay cash for that. I'm going to take out a loan for part of it. So to reflect that loan, I'm going to go down to new debt. And this is where I do need to have that loan account set up ahead of time. So this is another one. I may need to save here, go back to the chart of accounts and add that loan in. We're just going to say this is the Case Credit 26 tractor loan. And maybe I'm expecting to borrow, we'll say $150,000 on it. So what that's done is that I got $250,000 coming out being spent on the equipment, even though I'm just going to write a check for the difference. It's treating it like I've got $250 going out to buy the equipment and $150 coming in for the borrowing on it. And then the other thing is that loan, all my loans, I'm going to need to go in and put in the loan payments. So maybe that Case tractor loan, I think it's probably going to be about $5,000 a month. So I'll just say $60,000. In this case, those payments probably don't start till April. So I'm just going to tab through and delete out the payments for January, February, March to get them in. Owner draws, that if you're taking any owner draws or family living, you can fill those in. So if Brian's going to take, he's a big spender, we'll say he's taking $100,000 a year. I'm the accountant, I don't spend as much. We'll say I'm just spending $50,000 a year. Can put those amounts in there. And now what we've got is all these values. It's showing me my ending cash position budgeted for each of these. So talk a little bit about this cash position. The program's going to show the beginning cash position, the change in cash position, and the ending cash position for each month. This beginning cash position, Traction is going to fill in here for you. What the beginning cash position is going to represent is any cash accounts you've got on your balance sheet minus any operating loans that you've got set up to work as a line of credit. So if you have your operating loans set up so that it shows up in your account register that you're writing checks and doing deposits to it, it's going to be included in this balance. So the key to this is there's going to be times if you've got your operating loan in here that this will be negative. Now, a couple things on this. You'll notice you can change it here. If you're in a hurry to get your budget done and your books were mucked up last year and you know this number's wrong, hopefully nobody's in that case, you can change it. So if I know this was really $10,000, not that 86,000, I can change it. A little secret for you, if you change this number and then realize the original number was actually the right one, all you got to do is highlight it, hit the delete key, and we'll fill it back in there for you. So the key to this is the ending cash position, any of those months that are green, that should be, if this budget is right, this is money that I should have in the bank at each month. The negative values, well, that's if I got an operating loan. That's showing how much I've got borrowed on the operating loan. Probably actually I borrowed a little bit more because you've always got some in cash, but this gives you where you should be each month on that operating loan. And if you're really serious on this budget, this is where I'm kind of looking at it. And if I'm seeing that, the end of November, I'm going to be 540 in the whole 738 in December. And if my operating loan's only 500,000, I probably need to look at things. I need to see, did I make any mistakes in this budget? If I didn't make any mistakes, it's like, okay, can I get the bank to raise my operating loan now and get it ahead of time before I actually run out of money? Or do I need to adjust my spending patterns in there? So that's kind of where you're working with these budgets.
Hey,
Before
Scott.
I go to the next step, let me open it up. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Scott, we actually had a question here. So if you can open up the drop down where it has asset sales on the left or
Yes.
asset purchases or new debt, any of those, can you explain where all that stuff is coming from? If they're not seeing anything in their Traction account when they open those up, can you kind of explain how you get those in
Absolutely.
there and where are they coming from?
So these are all coming from the chart of accounts. I'm just going to save it and go back to the chart of accounts. So basically, the accounts that show up in the asset sales and the asset purchases, these are going to be any accounts that are underneath. The main ones are going to be under property and equipment. So that's going to be your equipment account, your building account, your land account. Other long-term assets will show up in there. Those are typically like your patronage stock and other current assets. And other current assets, you see, Traction really doesn't deal with cattle separately. So I've set up a cattle account in there for that information. So those other assets are other current assets, other long-term assets, and property and equipment. The borrowing side of that is not going to be credit cards. It is going to be any notes payable short term that are not an operating loan. So to show you kind of that operating loan side, if I take this line of credit, farm credit, if you have it set to function as a checking account, we're going to show that account just like in your checking account down in your cash position. If I turn that option off, it's going to treat it like a loan and it's going to show it in the loan area. So those loans area, the debt will be any short-term notes payable that are not set up to work as a checking account, any other current liabilities, and notes payable long-term, those should be kind of all your term loans. So those would be land loans, equipment loans. So they've all got to be set up here in the chart of accounts to show up in that budget. Does that help?
Yeah, Scott, I think so. Okay, so she says, I have those accounts, but they don't show up on the budget sheet. I was kind of wondering about this myself. Is there a chance that somebody could add something in the chart of accounts and pick the wrong entity and they're looking at the budget budget's wrong entity? Could it be like an entity thing? If somebody's not seeing something show up there?
That's where I would go because the budget needs to be like this one's under B&S Farms as that entity. So if my budget's not B&S Farms, the loan won't show up under it. So that would be the only other one I would think about. So you've nailed it, Brian. That'd be the scenario where I think it would not show up is watch the entities for the budget.
Okay. She says she only has one entity there, so there'd be another reason why.
I cannot think of one, Brian. It's probably going to be one to maybe connect with support on and have them take a look at your account with you. I mean, the only other thing I think, look on the report. Do they show up when you look at the report? And maybe we take it. We can stick
Yeah.
around afterwards and talk a bit more on that. So
Yeah. Once we finish up here, Amanda, maybe if you just want to stick on here, we can kind of brainstorm some ideas. Okay.
So couple things on the report is that like me, I've got some accounts in here that I didn't budget. We've added in here, one of the things you can do is there's an option to show non-zero accounts. So if I do non-zero accounts, now it's only showing the accounts that have values in it. The other one that's kind of nice is you start going into the new year, you can see budgeted versus actual. And budgeted versus actual is going to have kind of two rows. The first one's my budget value. The highlighted is the actual. So this is where I can see February, I budgeted 50,000. I had 247. So lets me see both of those side by side. The edit screen has the same thing. So the edit screen, I've got the options up here, the zero, non-zero. I can also here show budgeted versus actual. So just a different way of seeing those two together. Other things in here is that doing different scenarios, we'll say now maybe that I've got that baseline budget, maybe I want to kind of say, okay, so what if I could get better crop prices than what I budgeted? What you can do is do a new budget, pick your same year, pick the same entities. And I'm going to call, instead of my first one was my baseline, and make a best case budget. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to go ahead and save. I'm not going to copy from anything. So I'm just going to make a blank budget here. Pick my, not my baseline, but and I'm going to edit that budget and I'm going to fill this. And when I fill that budget, I'm going to fill it with my baseline budget. And what that's going to do is copy all my baseline values in here as a starting point. So once I've got those baseline values for a starting point, I can go in and start changing. Okay, maybe I'm going to take everything and increase values on it and change things that way. So you can do as many copies of these budgets as you want so that I've got a baseline, a best case, a worst case, whatever. If you ever get a budget that you just want to start over, all I have to do is edit it. And after I edit it, I can delete budgets and that'll take them out of the list. So again, these just kind of stand out completely by themselves that way. Kind of last thing maybe to say here is that this budget versus actual, one of the nice things on this is that as I'm working through the year, so like right now for 26, we're actually into May 26. What the program will do is it's actually going to, for future months, when you show budget versus actual, it's going to take your actual cash position, and these future ones for June is actually taking the ending cash position from the previous month, plus or minus the change in it. So we'll say through the end of May, our budget, we haven't done everything exactly like the budget, but if I expect that budget to be correct for the rest of the year, this bottom tells me how much I should wind up. So in our case, our actual for the first 5 months has been a lot worse than what I budgeted. So this is now faring okay. So if I've been worse for those last 5 months, my future cash flows are going to be a lot worse also. So if you're really watching this budget and really doing a good job with it, this is a place you're kind of looking to see when you're going to run out of money, how you're going to be with things. So this is a good way again as I go through the year to kind of see the alerts that okay, now that we're through a few months, where am I going to be in the future months?
Yeah, Scott. Yeah,
Yes.
so since you're on that screen there, just something to point out. But I think what Amanda was experiencing on her end was she wasn't seeing the accounts on the left, right? They were set up in the chart of accounts, but when you click that drop down for whatever, revenue expenses, certain accounts weren't showing up. She accidentally had show non-zero accounts.
That's
So
it.
and
Yes.
that happens. Yeah, and I'm really glad that she brought this up because it's happened to me too. Times where I'm like, where is my account at? Is because I was showing non-zero accounts. So it's just showing the accounts that had values tied to them. So the other ones were hidden. So
That's a good
it
catch because now
happens.
you'll see. Now that's the exact scenario I've got. I'm only seeing that one account there that I budgeted for because I have non-zero. So yeah, if I switch it to all accounts, now they come back. So
There you go. Yeah.
good. It's a good learning tool for all of us, me included. Okay, I will open it up for questions.
Yeah. Feel free to ask away any questions. I don't see any new ones in the chat area, Scott, but yeah, if anyone just wants to unmute and ask anything, go for it. There was one comment at the very beginning. I did answer it through the Q&A, but there was somebody that was asking about if I had Traction Plus currently, and I want to upgrade maybe to Pro, what does that look like? Does it hurt my data in Plus to upgrade from Plus to Pro? It certainly does not. So we designed this platform so you can easily make an upgrade from any tier. So if you've got the basic level or plus level and you want to move up a level or two, we've designed it so it's easy to do that. It doesn't hurt any of your information that you have in there already. You'll just experience some of the new features and things that you didn't have previously, such as the cash flow budget in the Traction Pro. So if you got Plus right now, it would be very, very easy to upgrade to Pro. So if you're interested in doing that, just see myself or somebody in sales. We can definitely make that happen for you.
Hey, Scott, I got a question for you on,
Yes.
back on the budgets. Let's say I'm just putting a budget together and I just want to look at strictly at, say, the crop side, drop a lot of the other stuff out. If I on the budget, because it's going to pull everything in the chart of accounts. So if I just zero out all those values in the budget and then do non-zero, it'll clean it up for me.
That's exactly, yeah. It'd just be going through all your expenses. It's only going to fill out revenue expenses. So just be going all your expenses and just deleting the totals out, and that'll get you there.
Thanks.
And there again can just be another copy. So you got a copy that's crop sales only budget and have as many as you want there.
Yeah, it's just what banks want to see what is what I'm trying to split out for.
That should do it. Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions for Scott? All right. Feel free to ask away here. I'll just cover the last slide. So we do have some other webinars for this month. We have the market value balance sheet being covered next week. Somewhat similar to the cash flow budget in a way that you can set up as many market value balance sheets as you want, just like you can with the cash flow budget. So it's kind of its own little animal in Traction Pro. Then the following week there, we'll be covering costs on equipment, deep dive into that on May 20th, and then on May 27th, we'll have Taryn going over chart of accounts. So that some of that would be more basic, but she deals with a lot of farmers and has seen a lot of chart of accounts. So I think that one might be good, even if you got your chart of accounts set up. I'm sure she's going to share some tips and tricks and things to know about your chart of accounts that might be helpful. So that will kind of round up the rest of the month, and we'll keep working towards some new topics and things for June. Yeah, you're welcome. Got a thank you from Jill. So yeah, appreciate your time here today. We will work on getting this out to you, this recording. Appreciate your time, and we will see you at the next one. Thank you.